part of falling in love is also falling in love with your friends. And it's not falling in love like in a romantic, just the discovery of who the person is, what they like, what they dislike.
The way I deal with things is I will go into myself. I won't talk about it first. I will go into myself, deal with it. Now when I'm done is when now I'll tell my friends that this was happening. And oftentimes if you're not you do not have the capacity to extend me the grace and wait for me to go through that the period, it will end up fizzling out.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Behind the Curtain podcast with Centonomy. And I'm going to start by introducing myself. My name is Wangare, and I'm going to let our fellow co-hosts introduce themselves. So we can start with you.
Hi everyone. My name is Waboy.
Hi guys, my name is Ruby.
And on today's conversation, we're going to be talking about Galentines, given the fact that it's February and it's the month of love. So,
yay!
Yeah. So I'm going to let Ruby tell us what is Galentines.
Okay. So just in case you're hearing this for the first time, Galentine's Day is a day that's specifically chosen and usually celebrated on the 13th of February, and it's to celebrate female friendships. So women who have good friendships, community, and just to give them time to just catch up on their friendship, appreciate each other, celebrate each other for the great roles that they play in support, in listening, in carrying the load with each other, and all the amazing things that our friends do for us throughout the journey of friendship.
Thank you for that. So my first question is, what does celebrating female friendships look like for you in relations to your female friends?
Wow. Okay. So, first of all, let me start by saying I'm so grateful that I get to have female friends. Yeah, and I don't take it for granted, especially because some people have really good journeys, and others, to be fair, are really sad ones. Yeah? So I'm grateful that I have a good journey with the female friends that I have, and what it looks like. And it's interesting. We've never done a Galentines, but now, as we're preparing for this and reading about it, we've hung out in different settings, but I completely now have a new appreciation for celebrating them. And I think for me, some of the things that I think we could do, and have a couple in mind, could be, one of them would be a game night, like a pajama party with games, especially because when I think about my female friends, I just see that competitive spirit. I know them well, and competition is something they are ready to wear their boots and hang out for. So it looks like a game night on a maybe Friday evening, a nice setup for those who would like cocktails, others mocktails, and just really good conversations, no makeup, just chilling, PJs, just catching up, and then now getting into the competition. I think another one would probably be somewhere in one of our homes or a picnic site where we can just bring potluck and come and eat together as we just share and catch up. So those are the ones that I feel would be appropriate.
Thank you for that.
And you? I feel, for me, I think celebrating my female friendships and appreciating them. One thing I think female friendships are different from friendships with your male friends is how female friendships just speak life into you.
Yes,
I feel like female friends understand you in a level that a male friend will never get to that point. So the thing I appreciate most about female friendships is the ability to be, you feel seen. You feel seen, and I think part of celebrating these female friendships is just consistently speaking life into my friends. Every time we hang out is just the kind of conversations that we are having. We are just speaking life into each other, and of course now the normal going out, looking for time to hang out. Even during our busy schedules, even when we are adulting, we can make time. Just to be in the same space as them. For me, it looks like even hanging out in the house, watching a reality show together, hanging out, going for a drink, going to see a movie, going to play games at Sarit. So that's what celebrating my female friendships looks like.
Yeah. So I think for me, when it comes to female friendships, I wouldn't be the woman that I am without my female friendships. So that's something that I'm grateful for, and I honor my female friends. And and for me, what female friendships looks like, or how I will also cultivate my friendships with women, is that how are you there, being there for them in the ways that matter. So I feel like it also means that you need to know your friends. You need to know what they like, what they dislike. And I feel like it's by having this constant communication. It doesn't have to be like, I feel like there are stages. I was having this conversation with my friend yesterday, and I was telling them part of falling in love is also falling in love with your friends. And it's not falling in love like in a romantic, just the discovery of who the person is, what they like, what they dislike, what are some of their achievements, what makes them tick, what some of the fears that they have, and all that. So I think when it comes to female friendships, for me, I think it's just showing up for my friends in the ways that matter, and also realizing that how I show up for this friend might be different from how I show up for this other friend. And also, yes, even making time for your female friendships, because I don't think there's anything as fulfilling as the sisterhood and the community. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree.
So my other question is, do you think female friendship is as important as romantic relationships?
Wow, that's an interesting question.
Very interesting.
So I feel like they're in completely different dynamics, and just simply because I feel like the way I actually believe, the way we were created, we have space for everybody who is in our life and who matters. So sometimes when you look at it physically, the heart is so small, but I feel like it's been created in a way that we have space for everybody, like everyone who you love, you care about, and the dynamics and the aspects may be different, because a romantic relationship is different, but I believe I have space for all my female friends in the way that I show up, in the way that I think about them, in the way I pray for them, and they don't need to be the same, and I think that's perfectly okay. So what would probably be interesting for me when I think about both is now finding the balance, because the reality is we are also in a really dynamic world, and things are really moving so fast, and sometimes you can struggle with priority. And even especially because even in the female friends, there may be many, and probably we are not all meeting at one go, so even just balancing to check up on each other and make sure everyone is fine, and maybe one person is going through something that requires for us to show up a little bit more than you would ordinarily show up. So just finding the balance. But as far as the relationships are concerned, they're different, and I think that's perfectly okay.
I agree. I think we have, like you said, Ruby, just reiterate what you're saying. We do have space for all of them. We have space for romantic relationships, and we have space for platonic, and I feel like both of them, the way they are different, they answer to a separate need in your life. You need your romantic relationships, and you need your platonic friends, and I believe female friendships are so important, and I've learned maybe over the past year because, like I said earlier, they speak so much life into you. Your female friends will be able to understand what you're going through, empathize with you, and if you have like very many different friends, maybe one of your friends is a very empathetic person, and then another friend of yours like will answer to a different need in your life. So I think female friends are very, very important, but that's not to say they are either as important or not as important as romantic relationships. I think we have space for both.
I think my take on that would be, my female friendships is as important as romantic relationships, if not more, because I feel sometimes like I've been with friends who probably, when they are in romantic situations and romantic relationships, they kind of become boy crazy, and it's always there with their man, and they easily let like their female friendships, just go at the bottom of the list. So it's maybe until that when they break up, and then they're like, oh, You
Yes,
get
I still have, yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So because we've had situations where people, they prioritize their romantic relationships
Over your
over their
friendships.
So even meaning as their friends, you also do not know whether you are a point of priority or not.
Yeah.
And also, I'm also talking about this because I've experienced this, but for me it wasn't like on a female friendship kind, because I had a male best friend, and we were friends for a very long time, and it was a really good, genuine friendship, and he was like a big brother to me, like your age mates. So he was like, anyway, he was a really good brother to me. And even once he began dating, our friendship fizzled, and I saw, and I didn't understand, like, why would you let go of something that is good, something that has been working, and this has been a relationship that has been enriching our lives for the last 5 years. You understand? So I think even as you are in a romantic setting, so now this is a conversation about romantic setting, and also friendship-wise. So just feel, even as an individual, you also now, because I've also now been with friends who are dating, and our relationship has continued to thrive. And this is even a conversation that I've been having with myself lately. Sometimes you look at life as an either this or this, and you need to look at life sometimes as this and this. They can coexist together. You don't have to have this or this. Sometimes it's not about picking and choosing, but just seeing how can we have harmony.
So I want to talk a bit about it, and I'm not sitting on the fence per se, but I have a few thoughts around it. So one of the things that I also think we need to appreciate is, even if you look at it, okay, as a friendship, when you meet somebody for the first time, when you're doing something that's new, there's a level of excitement to it. And sometimes you get carried away, just naturally based off the fact that it's exciting, it's new, it's different, and maybe it could also be something that you've maybe been waiting for a while. But yes, so I agree with balance. One of the experiences that I had that I think I really loved, one of my very close friends got into a relationship. And to be fair, it was harder to see her. But she shared and said, guys, I have met somebody who I think could be the one. And so I'm kind of, if you notice, I've pulled away a bit. I'm trying to invest a lot into knowing them. And simply because she felt like she wanted to do it, confirm and finish. Like she was not going to stay 7 years waiting to figure him out. She was like, hapa tunafunga mwaka. Kama ni wewe, kama si wewe.
Nice.
But I think one of the things that I appreciated a lot was she did reach out and say, if you notice, a lot drawn in. I'm just kind of trying to navigate and figure this out and figure him out and let him figure me out, because the reality is, that's the phase that we are in. So I agree with you, Angare. They should definitely be balanced. You can't like get someone and ditch us, and then now when you break up, come back for us. I definitely, that's not the way to go. But I think what I would do, based on what I learned from that experience, is if it was me, I would also just share, in case I'm not as present as I used to be. This is where I'm at, and this is why I'm doing this, and it's maybe for a specific period of time. So if you miss me, just know this. I'm kind of leaning here, but I'm not saying don't. Like, I'll show up, maybe I just won't show up as much because I'm trying to navigate this new thing that's in my life. But ultimately, definitely, there has to be balance, and there has to be respect for all the relationships. Because if I'm investing in you as a friend, I also expect a level of investment.
Reciprocation. And so for me, my experience is, I have been the friend that has become, I don't want to say boy crazy, but it is what it is. Ultimately it wasn't boy crazy, it was just the kind of like you want to be around someone all the time, that's the relationship, your relationship with your friends takes the backseat. And I carry a lot of guilt from a specific relationship where I let a lot of friendships fizzle out, that I wasn't able to communicate like that. But now, where I am right now as a human being, if I get into a relationship that would be maybe taking a lot of my time, I think that's something I'd want to communicate to my friends now and tell them, actually, this is happening, and exactly the way your friend said, I'm trying to invest in this, but still, if you feel like I am pulling back, that was not the intention, and you can come to me and tell me, I feel like our relationship is fizzling out. I would really appreciate that kind of communication.
Yeah.
And I've also been now the friend whose relationship is fizzling out, but because my friend maybe got into a relationship, I feel like we also need to extend a lot of grace to our friends, because sometimes they might hurt you and we feel not prioritized, but that's not really the intention. Because as someone who has been in that situation, sometimes things just happen. You just don't know, like the relationship is fizzling out. But definitely as we grow, we learn how to communicate to our friends, communicate our needs to our friends, and even communicate the specific the season that you're in. If you want to talk more, if you want to talk less, if this is happening in your life, as a friend, I think there's a conversation to be had, and there's a balance to be struck.
I think the most powerful part of it is the communication.
Definitely.
And a lot of times maybe we fall short just based off the space that you're in. But one of the things that has gone on in life, I've realized, is there are spaces where people are in, where they're going through something and they're also unable to communicate. They don't know how to share it. Maybe it's too intense, it's too heavy, and or even they just don't have the capacity to communicate. So one of the things that, I mean, Mambo, I completely agree with, is extend grace to your friends. And based on how you know them, you know, you can be able to make a level of judgment that based on how I know Wamboi, this is not like her, and then also reach out. A lot of times people are going through so many things, and we are sitting back and saying, Wambo is a strong girl, she got this, but nobody's coming back and asking, how are you really doing? You know, do you need any support? Even if you're not available to see someone, you know, could I check up on you every so often? Could I give you a call? Could I write you a note? And previously, I used to be the person who used to catch a lot. Like if I'm the one writing you, or I'm always sending you WhatsApp messages, I'm sending you texts, you're not responding. I'm like, like, what's that about? But I've encountered some of my friendships where people have been in a space where ata kurudisha yo SMS hakuna capacity. And what that has taught me is extend the grace. And sometimes it's hard. And it's okay to also go ahead and say, when you do get the time to sit, listen, I completely appreciate you are going through something, but this is also how it made me feel.
Definitely.
Because that's what relationships and friendships are about. Just to say the truth, and everybody's feelings are valid.
Everyone's feelings are valid,
And also, I agree to what you've said. I also feel like it's okay also, given the fact that probably that you loved someone so much, I feel also there's a responsibility that comes with love, and also the ability to even extend as much grace as you can, because even for me, even my heart posture is whenever they come back, even if it's 2 years from now, even 10 years from now, I am happy to receive them back and just you know, go from where we had clicked pause just to I'm happy to receive that relationship again.
And even the fact that, I mean, and let's talk about it. It doesn't necessarily have to be a romantic relationship. It could be jobo. You got a new job, and now it's so demanding, and you're trying to juggle the balls, but there's no time. You're struggling to do everything that you used to do before, or you know, you've gotten a family, or you have traveled to another country. There are so many different things.
Even going through it.
And oma life imekuchapa kiboko.
Life is lifing. Especially so someone like me, when I'm going through it, I'll tend to come back to go into a cocoon. So that can look like either I'm being aloof, either I'm being not prioritizing friendships, but the way I deal with things is I will go into myself. I won't talk about it first. I will go into myself, deal with it. Now when I'm done is when now I'll tell my friends that this was happening. And oftentimes if you're not you do not have the capacity to extend me the grace and wait for me to go through that the period, it will end up fizzling out. And I do understand, like, communication is a big part of it, because if you are going through something, you need to tell people, like, I'm going through this, I'm gonna tell you after.
And that should be enough.
And that should be enough.
Should be enough. And I think luckily we've gone past hizo places za kukatch forever and ever. We are not in standard 4 where nimekwekea wanted, nancha kuchapa sijui closing day, like tumefika hiyo place. But isn't it amazing that as you've grown and as we've matured, we've appreciated how much more you need those women in your life.
Yes.
How much more?
Kwanza, as a recovering pick me,
And you're talking to the choir. We are many.
A pick me in recession. I'm saying I was a pick me because I had a lot of I had a lot of male friends. I've had a lot of male friends in my life, and I feel like it's easier to make male friends than in my experience. It has been easier to make male friends than it has to make female friends. So I was always the kind of I have a lot of male friends. Hapo tu nikiringa, I have male friends. Meanwhile, I'm missing out on a whole world of like love and like appreciation, like quality friendships, because you don't have female friends. Please, no, we need to get to a point where we appreciate the women in our lives. Me too.
Thank you for that. My next question is, what are your thoughts about female friendship groups and cliques? And so what are your thoughts around that? Or what are also your thoughts about maybe pursuing individual relationships, maybe in among the friend group? Or are you somebody who prefers just to have like independent friendship with different women?
Wow. I feel like that's such a cool question for me, especially because I have multiple. Like I have a group of friends that we were in high school together. I don't say how many years ago it was because there are many. Like it's a full adult. But I have a group of friends in campus and a group of friends from high school, and I think another couple of moms, different groups. And one of the things that I have learned through the seasons is, first of all, it is a fallacy to think that everybody will always show up in the group. There'll always be, just as we have said, there'll be one person who's either going through it or really going up and needs a level of extension of grace, or someone who just feels like this is my silent season and I just want to be silent. So one of the things that stands out is that when we meet as a group, it will be an amazing time, but we have also learned how to cultivate the individual friendships. And kitambo is to feel bad because like is of friendship has itoshani. Like maybe I'm not talking to Wangari as many times as I'm talking to Amboi, but one of the things I've learned is friendships are created differently. You could find that in that group I talk to Wangari more often, but when I sit and talk to Ambo, even if it's that once in 2 months, any the things we talk about cover all those other times that we didn't talk. So I've learned that there's no measure, hakuna ruler, lazima tukue nikiongea nawe 5 times, lazima niongee nawe 5 times, na wewe 10 times. But it's how those relationships are built. It's how you understand that particular person, as much as it's a group dynamic, the individual, and how you two relate. And it's okay if they are not like all reading 90. Some days this one will read 90, this one will read 110, this one will read 70, and just also the way we were talking about seasons earlier in an earlier episode, and saying there's time for everything. Even in friendships, even in relationships, you'll find there's downtime, there's middle time, there's up time. So I've learned to just be comfortable in whichever season you and I, Wangari, are going through now, that's okay. Whichever season Wambo and I are going through now, that's okay. And now when we come back and we join as a group and we are all catching up and there's vibe and there's everything, that's okay too.
Okay. Me, I've seen I've not been in a female friend group per se, but I've been in groups before, friendship groups, but I've seen female friend groups that work. I've in some of my other friends, so friends of friends, and now maybe family who have female friends groups. I've seen female friend groups work. So I do believe maybe when I get into one, I'll have more experience and speak to it more. But I've seen them work, and I do believe like the community is very much needed, because you can't navigate this life alone. Actually, you cannot navigate even with just male friends. So I've seen female friend groups work. That's all I can say.
For me, I've not been a clique person. One, I'm an introvert.
Same.
So
100%.
More often than not, I prefer to be solo. And what that has ensured is that even when the times that I'm getting out of my cocoon is that I'm being very deliberate and intentional with my friendships. So I've also, for me, I found it what works for me is actually pursuing individual friendships, other than just, pursuing it as a group altogether. I think at the end of the day, also maybe an opportunity has not presented itself for me to be in a friendship group. So maybe when that happens, maybe then I can be able maybe to comment more on that.
Do you mix your individual friend groups?
I don't.
You don't?
Why?
That's interesting.
Why? Was it like a conscious decision not to mix your friend groups? It just happens.
I feel for me it just happens.
Okay.
Yeah. So and given the fact that when you think about even how I make my female friendships, it's either one, you went to school together, or maybe you are studying a different course than this other person, you know, or maybe you're in this hostel and then you carried one friend, and then this one was maybe a colleague at that other job or another colleague from that other job. So even there is no association. I feel maybe the time maybe they could come together is if at all I'm maybe doing a birthday party, because me I do solo activities. I'm a solo as in that's something that needs to be unpacked in therapy.
Okay.
Yeah, so but I feel like I prefer, I don't know whether I also have a problem with group dynamics, you know. Yeah.
It's a real thing. Yeah, it's a real dynamic. So I mean, one of the groups called On a Life Road Trip. And I think that one has been the most challenging
on a life road trip. Let's just take a minute.
Go deep. Your power trip before things can just. So I think the thing that is most interesting about that one is we were all colleagues at one point, and then people diversified. So actually now there's nobody who's working with each other.
Oh,
and I can tell you for free, it's very different when we are all seeing each other at work every day, because it means we catch up way more often. We can have lunch together because we're in one office, or at least even if we're working from home, we can pull in the day we're coming to Jobo, let's hang out after work. So one of the things that has been the most challenging is dealing with the fact that now it's not as easy to meet up. And you know, many of the times we select one date, one person's not available. So let's look for another date. Another person is not available. And many of the times that people have even just volunteered, you know what guys, this time I'm not available, you guys go ahead and meet. But on the rare occasions that we all meet together, it is next level. Like I think the level of conversations, the level of learning, and even just banter and gonyang and all those things that we need to do, because kuna vitu mingi za kuongelelea, that has been really, really powerful. And it's taught me, one of the things it's taught me that is you have to be very flexible, because we are all going through it, number one, and we are all chasing, you know, bank, we are all chasing growth, we are all chasing moving to the next level, and it doesn't have to look the same, and that's really okay. One of the things I've loved the most is we found a way to navigate. Like when ikigonga mwamba sana tutarudi kwa WhatsApp group tuongee, and I think we did a trip that left the WhatsApp group, and we've never been more proud, because it took a lot, but we're able to do it. And I know we are thinking of, you know, doing another one soon, and I mean I completely appreciate that the effort that people put into it is enough. Even if it ends up being a 2027 project, I know for sure that we are all working to align for it to happen. And I think that's the best part of just knowing that friendships can take a lot of time sometimes, and they can take a short time. Like there are times that we could be together in this and very accessible to each other in this season, and in another season it could take a lot to be able to come together, but the love still remains the same. And it's always a pause and play kind of situation. Like when we hit the table, it's like tulikuwa nawe jana.
And do you mix your friendship groups?
Not really. And it's the same thing. Like I've known people from very different places. So I don't see how they'd align. The way that me and make friends is very funny, because let me tell you, because I'm an introvert, most of the times I make friends by being adopted by an extrovert. So the extrovert will adopt me and introduce me to other friends, and then now we can cultivate friendships, or like pull me to events, or like introduce me to other people. So that's how I make friendships. I don't have a problem mixing with my friends' friend groups, because that's how I meet a lot of people. But me mixing my friendships individually, it has just never happened. It would only happen if like I had like an event or something. Something would have to happen for me to like mix them.
For me, the mixing has happened in parties, like birthday parties, and also my sister. I mean, she feels like she knows all my friends, because I think I talk about all of them. And similar to her, I know her friends just because of the conversations we have. And, you know, when it's born out of the richness and the learnings that we get. And those learnings that you get, that you're like, hey, let's go and convey. It's not that it's gossip or anything of the sort. It's just that, you know, I was having a conversation with my friend the other day, and these nuggets are something I think you can borrow, I should share, and it would impact your lives. So half the time she's always saying, I feel like I know all your friends even if I don't know them. But so
Interesting.
Yeah, so let's get into the fun segment. So I think you're the one handling that.
Yeah, so we'll take a break
So-
first and then we can get into the fun segment.